Hey guys, this is Brenda Carter from Heartlock. How are you? I know it's been a while since we posted, but I wanted to discuss this whole Meagan Good situation. So I saw that Sarah Jakes had Meagan Good and her husband um, to speak about their book called The Wait. And there was this lady that she started out with a compliment, sounding like what was going to be a compliment, kind of. Um, and then, like, you even heard the criticism in her voice. You knew it was coming, you know? And then she goes, well, you're a very beautiful girl, but I seen you, in a few magazines with, your chest showing, and we gonna cover up, right? And I'm like, honestly, that wasn't necessary. Here's the thing. Megan Good, she's a married woman, right? And how she dresses when she's out with her husband or whatever, that's between her and him, okay? I find it interesting with church people specifically how judgmental they can be in terms of something that's within the confounds of even marriage, so to speak. Because here's the thing, he knew what he married, he chose her for a reason. So now she has to meet your standard. No, she doesn't. And the funny thing is like when I read a couple of boards with some first ladies, I didn't realize how disrespected first ladies were, because a lot of times churches, they reverence the pastor so much, and they totally feel like, oh, you're a first lady, but you're replaceable. You ain't gonna touch our man of God. And the thing that also drives me crazy is that type of woman I've seen in the church. Those are the very ones, they point out the obvious, or they point out what seems to be the obvious, right? You point out the young woman that's not dressing right, but then the pastor who slept with half of the teen ministry, you be like, just pray for him, pray for him. You know he's a man. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Aren't the roles reversed in terms of accountability? And then the other thing is this. If any of you have been out there before, you know that society always seems to drive you to have fun when you're outside of marriage, but then when you get inside of marriage, now you become a prude. Are you serious? Like, let's be honest. If it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. But if that's what that man likes and that's what she likes, and he knows what he married, and they go out and she's wearing something nice or cute or whatever it is that's between them, that's between them. Let them work out their salvation. Because clearly your attitude isn't where it needs to be by the way that you're posting. And what made me feel so bad is the whole entire conversation was counterproductive, because when I'm looking at her, I'm looking at a girl, I'm looking at her like Meagan Good, I'm looking at her as a person, and you could tell that was a soft spot for her. You can tell that, she just married the man, because she actually loved him. But then you have these church people that feel entitled to just yapping of the mouth. And it's like you're attacking her as a human being, as a person, and like she's wiping her tears away because she's upset. And I love the fact that he stuck up for her, because a lot of times we don't see that a lot. A lot of times the men lay back and behind closed doors they console their wife, but they don't necessarily speak up per se. And now some men do. Some men do speak up for their wives. Like I know, for example, my husband, he'll speak up for me, if somebody says something out of line or whatever. But it was just good to see that she didn't have to fight that battle. That he was like, nah, babe, I got this. You mine, I got this. I'm going to address this situation. And I like the fact that he said it. She's just as Christian as she is now as she is when she wears those dresses. Because another thing I noticed, like for example, they were able to remain celibate for the amount of courtship before they got married. Now, she did good, right? But because of her outward appearance, you're going to judge her just based off of that alone. Forget about the fact that she probably, in that moment, probably like when a church person, a saved person, met their husband, it's a possibility that you slipped up, right? And that you did have sex before you actually got married. Nobody's going to know that except for y'all two, right? But before the church, because you look a certain part, you're going to pass under the radar. Nobody's going to say nothing about you. Megan and him, on the other hand, they actually did do good before God. But because she doesn't look the part, you know, she gets this flack, she gets this judgment. And I just think that that's one of the reasons why millennials don't want to come to church, because we're like, listen, I love God. I'll still meet with my saved friends outside of church, but I really don't want nothing to do with the church, because it's like all of the stuff and the baggage that's comes with it. Do you know what people are really facing out there? And you're worried about what a wife is dressing like with her husband? Do you know what people are actually going through? Let's see. Suicide, somebody facing suicide, and this lady is wearing something sexy for her husband. Somebody who's being abused, somebody who's wearing something sexy for their husband. And it sounds extreme, but these are like real life situations that people go through even in the church, right? But and nobody says anything. But as long as you look the part, that's all they care about. They do not care about your actual well-being, about the actual prosperity of your soul. They do not care. You'll amen a pastor, any pastor, who's taking money from the whole church. You'll amen them, pray for them. Oh, I know, but the man of God. But then you got something to say about a woman who's maybe struggling, if it is a struggle, in the dress department. She wasn't doing this to tempt other men. She's doing it to keep her man's attention. I don't know. Maybe some women need to be taking some notes. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, the way that she came at her, it was counterproductive because there was zero love in it. I know she tried to mask it, but the judgment was still in her voice. So I mean, I'm just saying, it's like, how many times are we going to point our finger, especially even as women? And when I read some of that stuff with the first ladies, it was just sad how certain first ladies are treated, because they're women. But anyway, I digress. That's just my opinion. Let me know what your opinion is. Leave a comment down below. But we're back. Bye, guys.